Welcome to another edition of 30 Takes in 30 Days, TBC's NBA season preview series. And I just wanted to quickly say rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo, true giant of the game who passed yesterday. I suggest watching Masai Ujiri's tribute to Dikembe. He put it best. So, Spreadsheet September has now ended, and by the time that you're watching this, every team will have had their media days. There's not enough from media day to make a whole video, but here's some quick hits before getting into day 8. Bronny and LeBron together is so sick. I don't care what you say, it's cool that LeBron has been in the league so long that he can bring his own son onto his team and sun him in press conferences. Jimmy Butler didn't rock up with any gimmicks in a contract year. This picture is just hilarious. Someone test Grayson Allen's piss. Jeremy Sohan rocked up in Geo baskets, which I don't think anyone's done before, but I love that it's Jeremy Sohan as the first. That somehow fits. And Tyrese turned up in Prada loafers, which is pretty on brand for Tyrese. And the Raptors debuted these sweet purple numbers, which will be their classic jersey this season, and a callback to the year 2000, which gives me an excuse to play Vince Carter dunk footage. Yeah, baby, look at that. You know, he didn't even warm up before this. He just went out there and made history. Anyway, what's happening this season for the Raptors? Are they still making Jurassic World movies? Hey, there's one this year. And I would much rather watch the Raptors. But while they'll be better than Jurassic World this season, they're still on their way to becoming Jurassic Park again. I'll let Jakob Poeltl expand on the reasons why.
This has to be like a long-term project. I think we all know, we're not going to, go attack the championship this year. It makes no sense for us to, try and, win every single game as much as we can and sacrifice development.
Thanks for saying the quiet part out loud, Jakob. So, there's not much desire from the Raptors to win games this season, but is there any reason to watch them? Well, there's plenty in Toronto in terms of talent. So many could-be guys on this squad, and they're properly throwing in the towel this season after trading Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby during last season. And the man pulling the levers in Toronto's front office is Masai Ujiri, who's been at the Raptors since 2013. And this is now the first time he's done a proper rebuild, with Toronto finishing last season with a 25-57 record. Title defense season doesn't count. And this season, and probably the next few seasons, are an audition period for who is going to lead the franchise into its next successful era. The most likely of those being Scottie Barnes. Scottie returns with his new 5-year, $225 million contract, and there's a lot of sticker shock on that deal. These nearly $250 million deals are only going to get more common, but Scottie Barnes was an all-star at 22 in a losing season. Toronto have offloaded their two best players, and they're all in on Scottie's future. Lock him up for the long term. Whether you do it now or halfway through the season, it doesn't really matter because the number isn't changing. So why not give your guy a vote of confidence? Scottie being incredible attacking the hoop isn't telling you anything that you don't already know, but it's worth saying. He's a great defender 1 through 4 and a bit. I just haven't really seen it against the super bigs, and while there's only a handful of guys who can even semi-competently guard Jokic and Wemby and Embiid, I think Scottie can join that group. That last part you might not agree with, and there's probably no one who can defend Wemby in about 3 years' time. But one thing that really surprised me is Scottie's improvement shooting from deep last season. A quarter of Scottie's attempts last season were catch-and-shoot threes, an increase from 18% the year prior, and his percentage also increased from 30 to 38.5%. And the shot's a little funky looking because his arms are so long, but that's a huge improvement. Off the bounce, he's still no good. His percentage dropped to 13% if he took a 3 after 1 dribble and 8% after 2 dribbles. But who cares about those numbers? Let it fly, Scottie, and make it quick. I'm curious to see how that number changes this season with Scottie spending the entire season as the number one option on offense, but if he's close to 40% on catch-and-shoot threes again, that draws his defender out and inevitably opens up the lane for him. And obviously that creates driving opportunities for him, but also playmaking, where he is truly elite. Scottie does a lot of things that make his teammates better, and his teammates, they're pretty good. Bruce Brown just had knee surgery, so we probably won't see him for a while, and he's in the last year of his contract, so might get traded before he returns if someone needs defense and corner shooting so badly that they'll rehab him themselves. The bench unit will have Jakob Poeltl, Kelly Olynyk, and Chris Boucher. Isn't a bad few names. The Clinic had some really good years in Utah. He's underrated. And RJ Barrett's here too. Year 6 for RJ. Yikes. RJ was good for 22 points, 6 boards, and 4 assists after he landed in Toronto, and I like him as the second or third star. We've seen him being very handy beside SGA for Team Canada, and Shea draws more attention than Scottie, but RJ had a lot more life in him in Toronto, so I think he can keep that up. I'd like to see a bit more of him with the ball in his hands. I know that it never really worked in New York, but the bump in assists tells me that in Toronto, maybe. Hopefully we get a bit more of the offense by committee that we saw in the days after the trade, with Emmanuel Quickley, RJ and Scottie sharing the load. I think they've only really scratched the surface with IQ. Tibbs always kept a very tight leash on him in New York, but he had some great moments. I have a crippling weakness for small Nick guards with a sense for the moment, and IQ's motor, his shot creation, and handy playmaking means that he has a special place in my heart. And he'll be the starting point guard this season with a brand new 5-year, $162 million contract that the Knicks would never have been able to give him, and which I'm fine with. $30 million a season is a crazy number. We just need to get used to the jump because $30 million a season used to be a superstar number and now it's an Emmanuel Quickly number. Tatum and Bam will each make $34 million this season before they jump to more than $50 million a season when their next contract starts. But Drew Holiday's on 30, Devin Vassell, DeJounte Murray, Tyler Hero are all at or around that number too. So we just need to let the tide come back in, wait until the next generation of superstars get their next deals and get used to saying things like, wow, Derek White's only on $20 million? Saying that though, teams aren't managing their books properly at the moment, and the Raptors were able to get Davion Mitchell from the Kings for Jalen McDaniels. And I like Davion, Mr. Off Night. Hopefully someone in Toronto can teach him how to shoot, but that's the kind of move that makes me wary of the Raptors, not this year, but over the next few years, as the second apron starts absolutely killing teams. Masai is going to be waiting to take advantage and cash in on a few of the picks that he's been keeping in his back pocket. And these decent role players suddenly look valuable to a GM who's about to lose their mid-level exception or explain to their owner why they're forced to pick 30th in the draft. The next cat trade is only 1 or 2 bad decisions away, and if that just so happens at a time when Scottie is ready to be partnered with a superstar, Ujiri will do it. He already did it with Kawhi. What's a distressed asset other than an opportunity to cash in on another front office's poor management? Some other guys to mention on this roster, got sidetracked a little bit by the IQ deal there. Grady Dick, they'll hope that he can become a bit more consistent. He shot 49% from deep in February, then 33% on more attempts in March, but there's no risk giving Grady minutes this season, especially if the reward is that he becomes a consistent 40% shooter. Ochai Agbaji, I like a lot, really good defensive player. I was surprised to see the Jazz move him on, especially since he's still on a rookie deal. And the Raptors have got more out of worse guys. I don't know if we'll see the rookies all that much this season. They might spend a bit more time in the G League team, and the 905 is a really good setup, so there's nothing wrong with that. So it's not a contending year for Toronto, but it's not a year wasted. They've got plenty of guys too. Don't be surprised if they're a sneaky 9 or 10 seed at the end of the season. Plenty to like up north. And I didn't even talk about Coach Darko, who I love for standing up against the system for his guys. But this video is long enough. Come back tomorrow. Bye. What a block!